5 years ago, Daniel Cole stood on the deck of a cargo vessel called the Meridian Star and watched a hairline crack in a weld he'd flagged 3 separate times get signed off as, with intolerance, by a man who never once climbed down to look at it himself. 4 months later, the same weld failed in open water. No one died. That was luck, not procedure. Daniel's name ended up on the incident report anyway. Engineer failed to escalate, because the actual signature belonged to a COO who still had a job and Daniel didn't. Now Daniel checks manifests on a loading dock in a company he doesn't own a single share of, wearing a reflective vest instead of an engineer's badge, and he tells himself it's enough. It has to be. He has a 6-year-old at home who thinks forklifts are the most exciting machines ever built. Some stories take a while to show you why they matter. This is one of them, so stay close, and if you like where it's headed, subscribing helps more of these find you. Eli is 6, missing a front tooth, and deeply, unshakably convinced that his father invented the forklift. Dad drives the big one, he tells his kindergarten class during show and tell, holding up a drawing that's mostly yellow crayon and confidence. Daniel picks him up every day at 3:15, still smelling faintly of diesel and salt air, and Eli always has a full report waiting, what he learned, who cried at recess, whether the class hamster looked extra fat today. Daniel listens to all of it like it's the most important news in the world, because to him, it is. He's built an entire life around not needing anyone to know what he used to be. Vivian Cross inherited Cross Maritime 8 months ago when her father died mid-negotiation on a shipping contract, and she has spent every day since proving to a boardroom full of men twice her age that she isn't going to fold. She walks the docks in heels because she refuses to change out of them for anyone, and she has learned to give orders like she's never once doubted herself, even on the days she has. She notices the new dock supervisor before she knows his name, the way he double-checks a container manifest nobody asked him to double-check, the way he catches a mislabeled hazard code that would have flagged customs in 3 ports. She files it away. She doesn't yet know what it means. Daniel keeps a rusted 1/4-inch bolt in his jacket pocket, worn smooth from years of his thumb running over the threads. He never explains it to anyone. He told Eli once, when his son asked why he kept a broken screw, that some things hold weight because no one checks them twice. Eli didn't understand it. He just nodded the serious nod of a 6-year-old accepting a fact too big for him yet, and asked if they could get ice cream. Vivian's father's old COO, Marcus Whitfield, has run Cross Maritime's operations division for 14 years and has never once had to explain the Meridian Star incident to anyone who mattered, because the paperwork closed that story years before Vivian took the chair. He's the one who tells her, 3 weeks into her tenure, that the fastest way to earn the board's respect is to move fast and never look like she's asking permission. He's also the one quietly steering a new vessel, the Meridian Grace, same hull class, same shipyard, same shortcuts, toward a departure date that doesn't leave room for a full inspection. Vivian starts noticing inconsistencies almost by accident. A supplier mentions, in passing, that the new dock supervisor used to build the things people are riding on, not just check the paperwork for them. She pulls his file that night, official title, Warehouse Operations, no prior maritime engineering listed anywhere, which itself strikes her as strange for a man who reads a whole stress report the way other people read a grocery list. She doesn't confront him. She just starts watching more carefully, staying later, cross-referencing what Marcus tells her against what the actual maintenance logs say. Eli sees Vivian at the dock office one afternoon while waiting for his dad and, with the total honesty of a 6-year-old, tells her, "My dad used to fix big important things, but he doesn't talk about it 'cause it makes him sad." Vivian crouches down to his height. "What kind of things?" she asks. Eli shrugs, already bored of the topic, already on to the next thought. "Ships, I think. He knows when they're gonna break before they break." Vivian doesn't move for a long moment after he wanders off. The morning it comes to a head, Vivian is under pressure from the board to get the Meridian Grace out on schedule, and Marcus has assured her the inspection is a formality, already handled. She finds Daniel on the dock reviewing the vessel's stress reports without being asked to, red pen in hand, and when she demands to know why he's slowing down a departure that isn't his to slow down, he tells her flatly that the hull tolerance numbers on page 4 don't match the shipyard's original spec sheet, and someone needs to check it before that ship leaves port. Vivian, exhausted, cornered by her own board, says the thing she'll regret before she's finished saying it: do as I said or quit. Daniel looks at her for a long, quiet second, sets the report down on the desk between them, and walks off the dock without another word. Vivian spends the next few hours telling herself she did the right thing: a supervisor overstepping his role, a schedule that can't slip again, a board that's already watching for any sign she can't hold the line. She almost believes it until her assistant flags an old case file she'd requested days earlier and forgotten about, the Meridian Star incident, 5 years back, and buried in the appendix, an engineer's name on the original weld tolerance escalation memo that never made it into the final report. Daniel Cole. The same numbers. The same shipyard. The same cost-cutting pattern, still running, still signed off by Marcus Whitfield. Vivian goes very still reading it, the report from that morning still sitting exactly where Daniel left it on her desk. She confronts Marcus alone in his office that evening, the old incident file open between them. He doesn't raise his voice, he's had 14 years to perfect a calm that sounds almost kind. Your father knew how this business works, he tells her. Sometimes the numbers get rounded so the schedule doesn't have to bend. That's not fraud. That's how ships leave on time. Vivian asks him, quietly, whether he ever told her father the real tolerance numbers on the Meridian Star. He doesn't answer. That's answer enough. She calls an emergency board meeting for the next morning, official agenda listed only as Vessel Safety Compliance, Meridian Program Review, vague enough that no one suspects what's coming until the numbers are already on the screen. She walks the room through it herself, methodically, without theatrics: the original 2021 escalation memo, the falsified tolerance figures, the redirected shipyard cost reports, the same pattern reappearing on the Meridian Grace's current paperwork. An engineer flagged this 5 years ago, she says, and we let him take the blame for a decision he never made. She doesn't accuse Marcus of anything the documents don't already prove. 2 board members are drafting a motion before she even finishes the sentence. Marcus's departure is framed by lunchtime as an immediate operational transition, clean, procedural, total. Daniel is loading his truck at home that evening, done with the whole industry as far as he's concerned, when Vivian's car pulls up outside. She doesn't apologize the way people do in movies. She just holds out the original Meridian Star memo, his name printed clearly at the bottom, 5 years overdue for anyone to actually read it. You were right, she says. You were right, and I told you to quit anyway. Daniel takes the folder but doesn't open it. He already knows what's inside. Eli, watching from the porch, asks the question neither adult seems able to. Are you gonna go back and fix the boats now, Dad? Daniel doesn't answer right away. He looks at Vivian instead, standing in his driveway in dock boots instead of heels, waiting without pretending she isn't. He doesn't say yes outright. What he does, weeks later, is walk the Meridian Grace's hull inspection alongside Vivian, matching her pace without either of them adjusting for it, the way people do when they've already been keeping time with each other without noticing. Near the stern, his hand brushes hers once on the railing, and neither of them pulls away. That night, he takes the rusted bolt from his jacket pocket and sets it, for the first time in 5 years, in the toolbox on his own workbench instead of hidden in a pocket no one asks about. Some things hold weight because no one checks them twice, he says, quieter this time, and Vivian, standing in the doorway of his garage, understands it means something different now than it did the day Eli first told her about it. The dock is quiet that night, the Meridian Grace finally cleared and sitting steady at her berth. Upstairs, Eli is asleep with a crayon drawing on his nightstand, a yellow forklift, and beside it, a small blue ship, both labeled in careful 6-year-old handwriting, Dad fixes things. Outside, the harbor lights hold steady on the water, and for the first time in a long while, nothing under the surface is waiting to break. If this one stayed with you, there are more like it waiting. Subscribe to Velvet Storiez Tales, and let the next story find you when you're ready for it.